From South Jamaican boy to hip-hop star, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is now a businessman with tens of millions in Coca-Cola shares. Contracts worth hundreds of millions make him wealthier than CEOs worldwide. However, he drives ancient cars for decades. Few know that behind this is a career full of ups and downs. He was shot 9 times, owed 3 times his assets, and had threatening calls saying, "If you step back on stage, 50 Cent will be engraved on your tombstone." Death came so suddenly that he hadn't had time to enjoy glory. The stage where he was praised is now his fastest way to God. Why did 50 Cent accept all requests without alerting the police? Does your activity protect money or something else? Who was responsible? Prepare for this. Reality is not for cowards. 50 Cent's 22-year journey is scarier than the Conjuring horror series. 1. A secret agreement child. From the moment he breathed, Curtis Jackson was a deal. Where oxygen is rare, money is few, shelter, food, and tomorrow are unknown. The American ideal was still advertised on TV when he was born in 1975. Step outside the screen to experience a strange America where people run over each other to live. Curtis was born to 15-year-old Sabrina Jackson. All the neighbors called her Brina, an uncommon female drug dealer in a male-dominated forest. She said she didn't have Curtis for love or plan. He emerges from a world where emotions are worthless and bodies, beliefs, and youth are commodities. Every hug is negotiated, and every night costs. Motherly love endures. Brenda doesn't express affection verbally, by risking her life daily to support her children. Outsiders called her a dealer. She was mother and father of Curtis. He subsequently said, "She's so difficult, I don't know when to show emotion." That made him think everything would go wrong without his mother. Then the worst happened. A fire killed his mother. A child was informed that by police. They understand because a dead dealer is one less world problem. What about child emotions? Who cares? Psychology, not handcuffs, would have been their profession if they cared. Child without father. A child doesn't understand their mother's death. A child living in a neighborhood full of shells who go to work, do business, go to prison, and return. A youngster in South Jamaica is taught to dodge gunfire while America celebrates Bill Gates and Ronald Reagan. Instead of spelling, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work hard. Advise the country's wealthy. But how valuable is effort? South Jamaicans start trouble, not up. If God rose again here, he'd probably request an early release since he wouldn't know where to start. After his mother's death, Curtis moved in with his grandmother in the 9-person house where 8 grandchildren shared love. His performance was similar to Cinderella and the 7 Dwarfs. To be respected, speak up. Boxing was the first tool, but the drink couldn't buy dinner. Curtis started dealing drugs at 12 like his mother. Poverty forces many Black Americans to sell drugs. A last resort. Legal work rejects them. Early education was disrupted. No manufacturers or hiring enterprises are in the neighborhood. Everything is set up to fail. No one can go out at night without encountering something. Drug and firearm possession got him detained at 19. His youth cost him 6 months in training camp. Do you aware that cops must catch a certain number of people to get rewarded? Who is most vulnerable? A poor Black community with significant social issues. Each arrest boosts their career but harms others. This cycle has persisted through numerous administrations. Curtis turned to music after incarceration. He wrote in a friend's basement. Rap lines started as a forgotten generation. Run DMC's Jam Master Jay sensed the truth in his voice and brought him into the studio. Curtis joined Columbia Records in 1998. He ventured to touch over 30 notable rappers, including Jay-Z, Nas, DMX, and Missy Elliott, on his 2000 debut album Power of the Dollar. Jay-Z said at Summer Jam, "Go ahead and rob me." 50 Cent, a South Jamaican unknown, became the new bad boy of American rap in one night. Why do most rappers follow poverty, violence, and fame? They believe it's the only way to experience power and respect. Rappers are as regarded as gangsters in the slums. Rap can improve your life if you're lucky. Like entering a Los Angeles casino, everybody can wager, but not everyone wins. This is just the beginning of 50 Cent's misfortunes. 2. When luck traps you. Power of the Dollar for May 2000 is ready for publishing. But 50 Cent didn't arrive to the studio that morning. He lay bleeding on the pavement in front of his grandmother's house. 9 bullets. Shot through cheek. Through the arm. 3 bullets entered the legs, and one nearly entered the heart. Doctors predicted you would never talk again. Columbia Records terminated contract. The reason is professional. Violence isn't our thing. New York police established a file, collected shot casings, and photographed the site, but the victim's note and lack of cooperation ended the case. Why didn't anyone get caught if this was a revenge plot? Why were 9 rounds fired if this was random? Shot at close range in broad daylight in front of the house. The shooter's face is unmistakable. A kicked dog knows who kicked it, let alone a street rapper. One can only assume the gunman was protected or 50 knew his identify and remained silent. Maybe you know street culture best. Snitching is scarier than death. One detail really sends shivers down your spine. The bullets hit precisely. All 9 shots hit important regions, but not the heart or head. His proximity and competence allowed him to shoot him dead, but he didn't. Doctors called his survival a miracle, but street people saw it differently. Not an assassination, just a warning. The warning had 9 bullets, implying I can kill you, but leaving a breath for him to realize who controls life and death. 50 Cent's Ghetto Quran, released a few months earlier, listed the industry's top team and names without arrogance. He specifically referenced Queens drug lord Kenneth Supreme McGriff. The public saw true rap. The underworld considered it the worst offense. He was likely targeted because of that piece. Queen Street thug Daryl Homo Baum, with Supreme team ties, was the first name mentioned. Baum allegedly triggered it. Baum was shot and killed a month later. No witnesses, no reason. Cleaning up the source and eliminating witnesses is called a cleanup job in the industry. Shot 9 times, a person survived. An accused died suddenly. Police ended the file quietly. No company would hire him after the shooting. Everyone feared 50 Cent would cause havoc. Columbia Records terminated the project and demanded contract payment. In a few months, he went from being the next rap icon to dropping to the bottom with a $32.5 million debt. That much money might have bought a small Manhattan building or 40 Porsche 911s in 2001. After selling narcotics, 50 Cent owes the music industry. His career peaked briefly. Fans who previously labeled him a rising talent now shun him. He visited a music director to request another recording, but was cursed. You caused difficulties. No one wants to die with you. 50 Cent crumbled financially and was trapped by his own survival after his contract was terminated, his brand ruined, and he owed tens of millions of dollars. From then on, 50 Cent meant half a dollar and the price of surviving and losing everything. He sang Get Rich or Die Trying. After 9 bullets and $32 million in debt, such songs sounded self-mocking. Because sometimes wealth doesn't free us. Our entire lives become a gold trap. 3. He built an empire on rejection. After being ignored by the music industry, 50 Cent realized something. Only winners are respected in America, but those who refuse to die are feared. You're type 2. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson visited all major TV networks in 2014. Showtime Paramount. Using a series script he wrote with Courtney Kemp. Ghost is a drug lord who wants to retire and become a businessman. His sins help him escape poverty. Too much like 50 Cent's life. Head shakes were all I got. Big firms declined. Too dark. Too violent. Too real. It lacks the American image they wish to portray on television. For them, Ghost belongs on the evening news, not primetime. After they closed, 50 Cent opened another door instead of pleading. He founded G-Unit Films and Television Incorporated with the little money they had left, believing that the slum's tale was as deserving of film as any other. Wrote, edited, produced unknown cast. Young actors edited the trailer themselves. Took the product to Stars. A cheaper, riskier TV network. They agreed this time. Since Power, a series focused on the criminal underworld, business became a phenomenon. 5 spin-offs, 200 million views, and the Power World television world. That empire was valued over $300 million in a few years, earning 50 Cent $0 to $0 million annually. He saved his career in a Hollywood-rejected genre. He used his past to compose the screenplay, which is astounding. The 9 gunshot scars were the first detail. A criminal underworld insider analyzes the deals, betrayals, and goals. Each episode depicts real America, where blood, not scholarships, earns the dream. 50 Cent said in an interview that if they don't let me share my tale, I'll make them listen. Indeed, he did. Not only was Power commercially successful, It symbolized creative control. Hollywood says don't use actual life in movies, so you brand it. After being denied entry, he devised his own system. Power is the bastion of the underdog, like HBO is for the rich. He wrote scripts from scars and franchises from wounds. Money and fame didn't impress the audience. He rebuilt his life after being written off many times. His voice, contract, reputation, and support were gone. He shifted his battlefield instead of disappearing like hundreds other rappers earlier. From record to screen, microphone to camera, victim to self-directed story. Unlucky travel. A survival instinct. Because 50 Cent saw survival as a statement, not a goal. In case no one wants to hear my narrative, I'll tell it so well they'll need tickets. 50 Cent kept going when power peaked. His power book, 2 Ghost Raising Conan Force cinematic universe expands. All series are fictitious memories. He constructed another Hollywood. Outcasts could relate their stories in this world. Many believe adversity makes greatness, like 50 Cent. In his view, hardship doesn't build anything, simply eliminates the weak. A rapper shot 9 times and bankrupt, he became a producer. Controlling hundreds of millions with a media empire that firms previously mocked but now desire. You can't alter the past, but you can use it. The audience must see the gunshot holes on the screen, which can't be wiped. He rose from industry exclusion to industry dominance. Hollywood wouldn't let him in, so he created walls. Hollywood must knock on his. For being afraid costs. You must live in dread when the world fears you. 50 Cent never said that, but his life shows that. He had money, fame, power, and G-Unit, a media empire, in his prime. Forcing others to bow means no one will approach. Picture your 2010 office. The assistant said the lawyer had the paperwork, and the security officer waited for orders as the phone rang incessantly. Every meeting and gaze is recorded by the camera. He was followed, feared, and avoided. Suffocating power filled the top-floor glass chamber. He's center of a power network he no longer controls. Everybody works for him, but no one actually supports him. You once mentioned in an interview that you don't sleep deeply, just turn out the lights and wait for dawn. Not a lament, but an appropriate description of someone who no longer knows serenity. He was frightened of losing control, stillness, and that 1 minute of carelessness would ruin all. His fame, wealth, and life. Surviving 9 shots makes you doubt luck. You simply value vigilance. Success made him famous and a target. He knows every grin might turn sour overnight. From partners to those who shook hands after winning. A big price can make anyone betray you. Controlling everything was 50 Cent's only chance to survive. He doesn't trust anyone to delegate. There are no teammates, only workers. There are no friends, only useful people. His dominion was erected on steel walls, which became his jail. Power makes him untouchable, but it also takes away trust, the most human thing. Entertainment industry insiders claim he's alone in a money forest. The sentence sounds lovely, yet describes complete loneliness. Do you still fear anything? A reporter asked. Just smiled. Peace scares me. The response was surprising yet accurate. Silence becomes a warning of a storm after half your life on alert. Your villa is colder than the old training camp. At least you know the guards and convicts at boot camp. At the villa, that boundary dissolves. The waiter may have planted the camera. A colleague may be ready to sue you. In luxury, yet always defensive. That's not life. Silent fight. 50 Cent once utilized fearful tactics. He knows that if people fear you, they won't resist you. It didn't occur to him that terror might swallow him. $1 million contracts, closed-door meetings, and yes, greet him every day. But avoid his gaze. Power made him rich, but poor in non-marketables. Trust family and peace. Fame in your world is like a direct spotlight. This makes you shine out yet blinds you. He lost track of who loved him for Curtis Jackson, a person, and who merely required 50 Cent, the symbol of power and fear, at his pinnacle. Others perceive him as a brilliant businessman, accomplished rapper, and wolf survivor. But if they peered closer, they'd see a man trapped by his image. Each wall he created to defend himself also kept him from the world. You said I don't believe in happiness, only existence. Though chilly, the words define his life. 50 Cent seemed to have lost his humanity. He is a past-programmed, fear-fueled, successful machine. Everyone calls you 50 Cent, a sign of strength, survival, and total authority. The last Curtis Jackson vanished long ago. Despite success and hundreds of millions in sales, one issue remains. Do you remember what's real and what's acting after telling your narrative too many times? 5. The Warless Warrior. All warriors need battlegrounds. And you? You've won everything. And that's tragedy. Las Vegas, 2025. The auditorium sparkled like liquid gold. 6 displays a $5 million contract. Any rapper worth his salt would want to reach this figure. After 50 Cent entered the stage in a black vest and sparkling jewelry, tens of thousands cheered like waves. In the jungle of lights, something weird was observed. He grinned but looked backstage, where only his shadow was on the wall. He's at his best on paper. Net value $40 to $150 million. A Shreveport studio larger than an industrial park at roughly $985,000 square feet. The Netflix Diddy Vodka series is fashion TV. All generate tremendous revenues. You're now a brand, not a rapper. The paradox is that he speaks less as he gets affluent. He withdraws more as he succeeds. People thought 50 Cent lived to prove his mettle. However, surviving was merely the start of a different emptiness. From childhood in South Jamaica, he fought for money. After making money, he battles for respect again. Nothing can be traded after getting both. Not a win. The reason to persevere ends. His entire career was marked by turmoil. He fought the rap world when he was unknown. Ja Rule, Diddy, Rick Ross, Fat Joe. After becoming popular, he attacked the media, corporation, and even his supporters. Combat is currency. Fighting is profitable. The currency has devalued. He battled until he believed there was no one worth fighting. His adversaries were either settled or hiding by 2025. Nobody replied or acted. A warrior's worst fate is no more battles, not defeat. You remarked in an interview that poor people dream of wealth. Rich people dream of the days when they barely survived. Not philosophy, but confession. Though destitute, he had an aim. Being rich makes everything a procedure. Contracts, product releases, money counting before bed. Lost adrenaline and life. Glory costs silence. Quiet after decades of upheaval. For those who grew up with gunfire and music, quiet is torment. Like a wartime discharged soldier. Healthy physically, but confused mind about serenity. 50 Cent can beat any enemy, but not his creeping emptiness. He remains a success symbol from afar. Looking attentively, you can see a man who still wakes up at 5 a.m. every morning, eats 3 meals, works out, and spends hours at his office. Not because he needs money, but because he's frightened to stop. I don't know what rest implies, you said. If I quit, I'll die inside before dying out. The man who survived 9 bullets lives in a $40 million mansion with no one to shoot. Nobody left to intimidate. No need to use the mic. He reached fame's pinnacle and found just wind. He sometimes tried to revive previous feelings by generating drama and posting scathing comments on social media, but the reaction was different. The world changed. Audiences varies. Viral trends and TikTok filters feed hip-hop now, not hurdles. The game has moved on from you. You see a bygone era. That 50 Cent bullet wounded more than the 10th. Someone asked, "Do you think you won?" He smiled and said, "I win everything but myself." A proud, bitter response. Every warrior needs a battleground. After everything is won, success becomes a prison. Las Vegas shows ended with applause. Bout, his smile still bright. However, when the lights faded, 50 Cent quietly walked backstage with no cheering, no cameras, just the breath and footfall of a man who had fought his whole life and didn't know who he left to fight. Every war he'd endured. Silence was the enemy this time. 6. He refused to die. Some people are born winners. 50 Penny was born to survive. Over 2 decades have gone since 9 bullets perforated his flesh. Curtis Jackson represents resilience and a cruel dichotomy. Survival is not freedom. Yellow light through shadows on a scarred face late at night in the studio. Previous blood streaks were still on the microphone. He called it the medal of fate. He had celebrity, money, million-dollar contracts, and a Connecticut bulletproof house. However, behind those walls was a guy who still slept with anxiety, watched every sound, and never sat with his back to the door. Because everything can disappear overnight, as in 2000. Get Wealthy or Perish launched his career, trying his debut album with Eminem and Dr. Dre. The Midas King of American rap. 872,000 copies sold in the first week, over 12 million worldwide. Few knew that he still had to go to the hospital every morning to have blood clots removed from his leg, a lingering result of the shooting. He barely smiled when crowds screamed King of New York. Nobody understands better than him. The king faces the most pressure. He said, "If I die, I live forever." He imagined death would immortalize him like Tupac or Biggie. As he aged, he realized that living eternally could be a sentence. Because showbiz survival requires fighting. Be strong constantly. It's important to appear strong even when you're not. Lawsuits, bankruptcy, and unending clashes with brothers Ja Rule the game. Rick Ross and Diddy followed the spotlight. 50 Cent sold his blood to get attention because audiences adore blood. However, that survival game became the trap. He loses part of himself with each victory. People now associate 50 Cent with scandal, conflict, and violence, not music. "I get tired when people label me a legend," you said. Because legends are dead. Words seem light, but are stone-heavy. Legends never age, only become ghosts. Time alters hip-hop. Most guys are ignored by the younger generation. Drake and Travis are heard. Gyms on TikTok and TV shows play 50 Cent's music. Like a nostalgia soundtrack. You've gone from street icon to living historical legacy. However, you cannot stop, which is terrifying. Someone like 50 Cent can't retire. The world expects you to fight. They wanted you to smile after 9 shots, stand after losing everything, and joke even when fatigued. Despite feeling empty, we had to wear the strength mask. Money buys a home. It can't purchase sleep. Fame brings respect, but not tranquility. Even survival, once a gift, became a responsibility. In Men's Health, he remarked, "I don't know if they care about me or 50 Cent. He always looks tough, sneers, and understands how to answer in showbiz." He was lonely and terrified to sleep after the lights went out. He was terrified to trust anyone and that someone would take advantage of his vulnerabilities. Being an invincible symbol no longer comes cheap. Immortality costs loneliness. No one knows that better than 50 Cent. His appearances have decreased. No more tours or hits. Filmmaker, investor, and snarky tweeter. To stay present in a changing world. A fresh chapter. But it may be another way for someone who was compelled to live to survive. The 50 Cent legend endures. He died and became a ghost, softly teaching the world that some individuals are not born to win. Their immortality comes from being born to survive. This video presents information. The information may change and is not a forecast. Stories of endurance, legacy, and truth still to be discovered. Explore some of our top recommended videos on your screen.